Welcome to the Canadian Business Quarterly podcast, where we speak with Canada's most influential industry leaders on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all of our content, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.
Today's guest is Alan Lechem, CEO of Weston Wood Solutions. Alan has guided the company through more than a decade of year-on-year growth through diversification into new products, new markets with both new and existing manufacturing partners throughout the global supply chain. Weston has been recognized as one of Canada's fastest-growing companies for 6 concurrent years on the Growth 500 list, and the company is a gold standard repeat winner of Canada's 50 best managed companies. With over 30 years of millwork, lumber, and panel experience combined with a Bachelor of Applied Science in Engineering and Master of Business Administration, Alan enjoys developing and guiding Weston's team of incredible talent to discover and foster new business opportunities. Alan, thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be speaking with you, Jesse.
You're more than welcome. So it's a very good place for us to kick off our chat today. Why don't you give us a bit more of an overview of Weston Wood Solutions?
Happy to. So Weston Wood Solutions is a supplier of specialty building products, and we're known as an innovative manufacturer and distributor of millwork. So millwork means that we don't work at all with construction lumber or plywood. In fact, all of our materials go into trimming, finishing, and also into components to make residential windows and doors. Just, a little bit of background. Last year in 2021, we did over $200 million in revenue. We've already surpassed that at the end of June 2022. We've surpassed that record. And we have about 75 people here in Canada, a dozen more working with us in Chile, and about 25 spread throughout Southeast Asia. And one of the strengths that I'd like to talk about today is our sourcing from around the world. And to that end, we maintain offices and staff in Canada, Chile, and China. We also manufacture our own MDF moldings in Sault Ste. Marie, which is in Northern Ontario. And in 2020, we established a factory in Thailand where we make components for some of the large door manufacturers.
Excellent. And I believe from our initial chat that there's actually 2 business divisions or units for Weston, is there not?
That's correct. So we've got 2 primary business units, and one is focused on servicing OEM, original equipment manufacturing clients, and the other business unit supplying millwork distributors. So with OEM customers, we supply them with items like window extension, and Weston is one of the largest suppliers of door components for interior and exterior doors. But you never see many of our products because they're actually covered by fiberglass or vinyl, but they're there inside the windows or the doors. And another big category for us is door jambs. That's the frame for both interior and exterior door pre-hangers. And we don't just do finger joint wood or solid wood products. We also have a full range of PVC composite. And finally, in terms of OEMs, we service stair manufacturers. And to those guys, we supply parts such as stringers, treads, and risers. And in the other business division, which is supplying trim to millwork distributors, that of course comprises of moldings like baseboard, casing, and trim board. But we also supply specialty moldings like closet rods and a lot of wall paneling, such as V-joint, shiplap, nickel gap. And these products are sold through specialty building product suppliers in Canada and through what's known as a 2-step distributor in the US.
So, I mean, with 2 divisions and, with offices and manufacturing sites in a number of places, what is it that you think that your organization does differently to maybe other people that work in this space?
We think we've really done a lot in terms of offering global sourcing solutions, and not just talking about it, but actually doing it and being able to execute it. And I have to tell you, Jesse, over the last 2 years, our skill in global sourcing has been a fabulous asset because despite the supply chain shenanigans that everyone's all too familiar with,
Yes.
We never let any of our OEM customers down. And Weston is also partnered with joint ventures in China and Thailand and Indonesia that strengthen those very, very important supply chain relationships. And further, we also partner with manufacturers in Canada and the US, and that import domestic ability gives us tremendous capability with custom items and shorter lead times. And another thing which I think we do differently is being in Toronto, we've got this tremendously multicultural staff. We probably cover off 24 languages at our offices here in Toronto. And that contributes to our deep understanding of local cultures. And our belief in a partnership, win-win approach just deepens those relationships with both suppliers and customers. And maybe a final strength is Weston employs its own quality control team. And these guys are embedded in the various factories that we source from all around the world.
As you mentioned, you're sourcing from all around the world. You've got an HQ in Toronto. You are a Canadian company. So what's the company's, actual footprint?
In addition to sourcing, as we've talked about from around the world, we sell globally. Major market for us is the US, Canada, of course. We do quite a lot of business in Europe and in Australia, and believe it or not, into the Caribbean. They don't grow their own building materials in the Caribbean. They have to import.
Of course.
And a huge benefit, I believe, of operating in multiple countries is that it exposes Weston to a really wide range of products and technologies that you don't see if you're just sitting behind a desk in Toronto. And not to mention of having the bigger footprint is the obvious benefits of having a diversity of customers in various geographies and in different industries.
And I think initially during our first conversation as well, you were telling me that there's been quite a few investments that have been made into the company over the last couple of years during this period, hasn't there?
It has been a tremendous period for investment, and we've invested substantially, I'd say, number one, in people, not just in headcount, but our desire to make Weston a great place to work. So things that we have done has been an improved benefits plan, better bonuses, expansion of some recreational facilities at headquarters. We've got a tremendous HR team that's engaged with training, coaching, and especially personal development. And of course, making sure we have some fun throughout the workplace. So that's on the human side. And then we've also had significant CapEx. We've embraced vertical integration into manufacturing. And we've done this, as I mentioned, by building a factory from scratch in Thailand. And the reason in Thailand is because when you're in our business, you need to be positioned near a reliable, well-priced source of lumber fiber. And also you need the right labor. And then along those lines, several years ago, we purchased a small MDF molding manufacturer in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And I'm delighted to say, because of the great performance of the crew there, we're actually doubling the capacity of that plant.
Yeah, right. Very good. So, it sounds like the organization's done very well through this period. Are there any other milestones or things that have happened as well through the COVID period?
I think, more than anything else, we thrived by leveraging our value proposition of global sourcing. In addition, with the hiccups that we've seen in supply chain, the fact that we've got very strong communication with our customers means that they're not guessing on what's happening. If it's bad news, we're telling them bad news. If a load's delayed, we're finding a substitute, but we're letting them know the load's delayed. And of course, the other thing is we were very aggressive in looking after the health and well-being of our Weston team, both here in Sault Ste. Marie and in Asia, for example. We sponsored vaccines to all of the workers in several factories.
Being part of the industry of building products, I assume there's a lot of concerns around environmental, social, and governance, otherwise known as ESG. How are you guys taking that into consideration?
That's a great question. And we're always looking at ways to further our environmental credentials beyond our current certification, which we've had for many years by several sustainable forestry organizations. We feel that the millwork industry has completely undersold itself on the benefits of using products made from wood. So one of the things we're doing right now is we're compiling data to demonstrate the huge benefit of wood-based millwork products because they're tremendous carbon sinks. As you know, in a tree, it absorbs carbon from the atmosphere and it doesn't release that carbon back to the atmosphere unless it's burned. And so by making millwork products from wood, you're effectively preserving that carbon as part of a house until such a time as God forbid the house catches on fire.
Yes.
So that's I didn't mean to go doom and gloom, but to complete the circle, we're also linking up with a tree replanting program to help further the cause of our product being sustainable. And on another ESG side note, we're working hard to give back to the community, and we're volunteering for and financially supporting an organization called Shelter Movers.
From what you just said, you've discussed a lot of the benefits of wood and how that benefits into environmental change. How does this translate into Weston's value proposition?
The technical expertise of our staff allows us to supply these OEMs who require truly complicated, precise products with very demanding lead times and fulfillment criteria. And we provide a great service for clients by having Weston's own staff manage the process from the source to the destination, including engineering, quality control, and logistics. And logistics is handled by our own staff in both the country of origin and from head office here in Toronto. Another value proposition is we keep inventory in more than 10 locations across North America, and that's to provide quick shipment to our clients. And we also invest in proprietary stock items for program customers. So these are very specialized components, and we will maintain the inventory in our warehouses on behalf of our customers. And overall, Jesse, we see ourselves not as a millwork company, but as offering the best value in an end-to-end supply chain solution.
You're talking about end-to-end supply chain. And for a lot of people maybe listening to this, oftentimes we want to kind of understand what's happening under the hood. And the last couple of years have been disruptive to a range of businesses in a lot of different ways. Can you kind of, open up the curtain and help us understand what's happening at an industry level?
Let me give it a try. The building products business has been very robust in the last couple of years, and I think for well-documented reasons of people not being able to take holidays, so investing money in renovations or in purchasing new properties. And our company has benefited from that surge in demand, and there was an imbalance, just basic microeconomics. The demand exceeded the supply, and prices went very high, both in terms of the materials and especially the freight cost of getting them here. And there were many shipments from Asia where we paid more in freight than the value of the goods inside the container. So we see that imbalance between supply and demand has now reversed. And although our customers have a decent order backlog, we're beginning to experience some headwinds that we haven't seen in several years. The logistics and supply chain story you've been hearing about for the last couple of years is winding down. Having said that, service levels from the steamship lines and container handling companies still suck, but the stretch on the elastic band is reducing. And then within our industry, we see a continuation of existing trade disputes, especially between the USA and China, such as Section 301. And we also have an environment of anti-dumping and countervailing duty on millwork that we would import from China to the US. So I think what we're seeing is a change more like historical levels, but I believe Weston has grown a lot, and we're well positioned to grow more because, truthfully, our staff are creative and they're resilient, and they focus on solving problems, not just talking about them. So, we find ways to transport products when people say, it can't be done.
Mm.
And we like those. We like those challenges where someone says, "Oh, you can't do that," and we say, "No, we will find a way." And our OEM customers will endorse that and say, "Weston is the only company that didn't let them down despite COVID and shipping issues."
Very good.
And we're always looking for new ways to grow and better ways to perform.
Well, Alan, we're getting towards the end of our talk this morning. Before we finish, is there anything else that you might like to add?
Well, I absolutely want to give a big shout out to all of our fantastic staff. They work hard, they work smart, and they're really brilliant at solving all sorts of business, technical, and supply chain problems. And I'd also like to say that key ingredient to our success is the great resources we receive from several of our professional advisors. And we've had really steadfast support from the bank, RBC, really great depth of advice from our accountants who are at EY, the same with the legal team at Torkin Mains, and also lots of good strategic and tactical advice from our consultants who are the Black Box Institute. So thanks to all of the professionals who've helped us get to where we are today.
Excellent. And Alan, thank you for your time as well.
I really appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you.
This has been a production of the Canadian Business Quarterly, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Canadian Business Quarterly, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.